So I tried adopting a new dog this past weekend, and it was an unmitigated disaster. I have been thinking about it in the days since then, and part of everybody involved is to blame. This video serves both as a report as well as help because I see a lot of push to adopt. It's currently the vogue thing to do. Don't shop, adopt. It's what makes you cool. It's what makes you woke, I guess, right now. That you're saving dogs instead of turning to puppy mills. You're saving them instead of them getting euthanized, etc. But it's really not that easy. And I had never rescued a dog before, so a lot of mistakes were made. A lot of mistakes. Some of them were mine. We'll talk about those. Some of them were others. And then I've got some tips at the end for if you're considering rescuing a dog, because there's just some things I wish I had known in advance and that will hopefully make my next opportunity successful or make your opportunity more successful. So I previously spoke about how the beagle rescue here in southern Nevada actually gobbles up all of the purebred beagles, I guess, to control who they go to. And I understand now why they do it. They're trying to make sure the homes are fit, and I wasn't as fit as I thought I was. Love is one thing, being prepared is another. And that was confirmed last week by a student who said Monday night, a student who said she works for a veterinary office, and she said, yeah, I mentioned it at work, and they said, yeah, this place goes and gets them all and then tightly controls them. But anyway, I found this other beagle, which turned out to be a beagle mix and was misadvertised, from a rescue called A Path For Paws. And this is not to criticize them. In fact, I actually encourage you because they're actually really friendly and helpful, albeit they made a few mistakes when it came to preparing me adequately, and we'll talk about those. So I'll put the link in the description because if you're in the area and you're thinking about adopting a dog, they were generous with leash, collar, vet visits, treats, food. If I'd actually adopted it, they would have given me a crate. I mean, you get a lot for the adoption fee. So it's not just a dog you get. They actually equip you to be successful, assuming, of course, that you're psychologically and sociologically prepared to actually adopt or rescue. So we emailed back and forth for about 2 weeks and arranged to meet up. I was glad because they didn't discriminate against me, even though I was going to be gone most of the day and there was no one else there, because I had a dog door in a yard, and she said, oh, that sounds perfect. Well, so I assumed it was, and that was my mistake. So I arrived and was disappointed because he wasn't as described. On their website, it said he was a beagle. Turns out he's a beagle mix. He was a beagle/German Shepherd mix, which is curious, and he shed like a banshee. He also wouldn't take my treats, which I took as a bad sign, but I didn't know because I'd never tried to rescue a dog before. I didn't know how bad it actually was. Because they reassured me, oh, when we give treats, it's fine. But he never, ever took a treat from me. He was super skittish. He tried to get away from me as soon as the workers were gone. He actually tried to run away from me in the store. They reassured me that was normal rescue dog behavior. I'm not so sure. Anyway, I was not as excited when I met him as I originally was, but I assumed that's, number one, because he wasn't a purebred beagle like I thought he was, and number two, because he wasn't actually the dog I had lost. That I was hesitant and reticent simply because I wanted my dog back, not just a dog. One of the other gals there persuaded me to enter into a foster to adopt circumstance, which would give me the opportunity to find out if we were a good match and give me about a week with him, at which point I could either decide to keep him or return him, which seemed like a good deal. She, of course, however, glibly and nonchalantly gave me a false sense of hope for success, because she said, oh, I've never taken one home and had it not work out. Well, this did not help me, and her past experiences obviously are not predictive of your future outcomes. So I took him. He seemed excited to go out the door. He didn't mind, being on a leash. He jumped right in the car, and on the way home we were fine. And then nothing that they reported was true with him happened to me. I turned him loose in the backyard. That was probably my first mistake at the house, was letting him off leash, because I couldn't get him back on leash. More on that later. And he spent the 2.5 hours he was at the house basically trying to stay away from me. It was bad enough. He was trying to jump the fence, and he was desperate enough to do it that he eventually got bloody. That's when I tried to put him back on a leash and crate him so I could control him and maybe protect him, and that's when he bit me for the first time. He wouldn't take treats from my hand. He would only eat the chicken that I put out for him if he couldn't see me. Because as soon as he saw me, he took off like a shot, ran away from me. And it wasn't a game. He was desperate to get away from me. So I tried to catch him. He bit me. I called them and said, he's hurt himself. He won't let me harangue him. He bit me when I tried to catch him, and I don't think this is going to work out. And to their credit, they agreed to wait and take him back. And she actually even called me right after I got him back in the car to see if she needed to come to my house and pick him up. Because he bit me 3 more times trying to get the leash on. I think once the leash was on, he figured it out, but I had already committed and given up on him at that point. I was taking him back because the next day I had a 13-hour shift at work, and I knew if he's going to do this all day, I can't leave him here because he'll kill himself if I leave him here alone. I don't know what to do. It was obviously way too much, way too soon. And then back in the car on the way back, he was fine. When we got back to Naomi, he was fine. And I don't know. Maybe it was just more than he could bear at the time. Maybe it was too much, too many new things, too many new people, new places, new smells. Oh, and it could also be the scent of my dog in the house. Because last night I brought my parents' dog over because I'm watching them while they're out of town until they'll get back tonight. But she spent a considerable amount of time sniffing around looking for him, sniffing at the places where he slept. Which tells me he could have been frenetic because he sensed another dog and didn't like that. I don't know. I wonder, was it destined to fail because I wasn't more hopeful and energetic about it? Because I will confess that I wasn't really jazzed. He wasn't as he was advertised, and I wasn't real jazzed about a mixed dog. I wasn't real jazzed about a dog that shed all the time, because that's one of the reasons I like beagles, is they don't shed as much. I mean, I got dog hair all over. That's because I used to rub himself on the carpet, and you do that, it rubs off. I wonder also if it failed because they didn't adequately prepare me. I told them when I was filling out paperwork that I'd never rescued a dog before. And the woman who persuaded me to foster to adopt, and the woman who did the paperwork, and the woman who met up with me when she took him back, none of them gave me any pro tips or anything. And, well, remember, you need to do this, do that. It was, well, he takes treats and he goes for walks and he's okay with other dogs, and we've had these successes and he seems excited. And I'm like, that's not the dog I took home. They didn't prepare me, and they could have prepared me better. I mean, now I understand why the Beagle Rescue would reject me initially, because they understood that I was probably not prepared and that I was probably not a fit place. I'm maybe more fit now than I was, but with me working 13-hour shifts in academia, I'm not home a lot, and so that's actually pretty bad to leave the dog alone, especially in a new place that many hours, unsupervised and unguided. But it was a learning experience, and maybe it has prepared me to do better next time, assuming, of course, that I haven't been blacklisted from the rescues. I have not been able to get a Path For Paws to contact me back about anything, and it's possible that I have now gotten on their crap list. But rescues take a lot of time, which apparently is more than I can give at the moment, or at least more than I can give for the next day. I knew that next day I didn't have the time. There was no way. And I guess you have to earn a rescue dog's love, bit by bit, piece by piece, yard by yard. So here are some pro tips. Bring the dog, when you bring a new dog home, it's probably best to not leave them off leash initially, except when they're in a crate or cage. This is for your protection and for theirs. They've come from a place where things were different, and they are probably scared and unsure and unsettled, and you're different, and all of a sudden, all the people that they have gotten to know and love and trust are gone. It's just you. And they basically just met you today. So when you get them back to the house, it's probably best to take them for a walk, 30 to 60 minutes. Familiarize them, take them around the house, take them around the yard, but always on a leash so that you can control them. Because once you take that leash off, I don't know if you can get it back on. And at least if he'd been in a crate, even if I couldn't get him back on a leash, I could have picked up the whole crate and put him in the car and not gotten bit. Or at least only gotten bit once trying to put a leash on inside of a crate. Or get a dog-proof room, a place you can cordon them off. That's a lot easier with a puppy because, all you have to do is put up one of those child gates and they can't get over it. And that's what I did in the past with my puppies. And in fact, the one I lost, I actually have a picture of him in the kitchen in my tribute video where we put up 2 child gates on the entryways into the kitchen to keep them in there because basically the kitchen was the most dog-proof room in the house that wasn't, locking them in the bathroom. That way we could get in and out without opening a door because I just have to step over the barrier. But anyway, that's enough about that. Walk it when you go to the bathroom, walk it, give it treats, give it food, and then spend as much time with it as you possibly can at the beginning because lots of new can be overwhelming, and it will need to be reassured that it's safe and that it's going to be taken care of and that everything's going to be all right because it hasn't been, at least for some period of time. They've had this dog for 3 weeks, just under 3 weeks when I got it, so maybe it really wasn't enough time for them to adequately prepare me or know much about it. But I'm very disappointed, and hopefully this will prepare me for another opportunity, assuming of course there is one, or at least prepare you. I don't know if I'll get another chance. If there is another chance, then hopefully I'll be more prepared next time and have better chances of success. If you're considering a dog, adoption is great, but it is not for everyone. And I don't think you should let other people bully you into adopting or make you feel bad because you chose not to. It isn't for everyone. The rescue doesn't want me to have one, and I can now understand a little bit more why. And maybe you shouldn't have one either. A woman I know who's a psychiatrist said, if you want a dog that loves you unconditionally, get a puppy. If you want a dog that will worship you forever, then get a rescue. Which was an interesting quote, because that's probably exactly fitting for most of the circumstances. So if you have the time and the disposition, and you understand the commitment, rescuing can be a great thing. It is not for everyone. Don't let anybody make you feel bad because you decided not to. You don't want to have a bad experience. This is not what I wanted to happen, and hopefully it has not put me on the naughty list or the disavowed list for the future. If so, there's always a puppy, and I just didn't want to be one of those people, But maybe that's the only way I'm ever going to get a dog to love me, is to start from a puppy. And at least then the mistakes that have been made are all mine, and I know what they are. I know how to correct them. So there's that. Anyway, I hope this was helpful, illuminating, and descriptive enough for you. So far, I do not have a new dog. It was interesting to have my parents' beagle there last night, because she's definitely different too. So that would even take some time. So even if you get a puppy or a dog that already knows you, like my parents' beagle, there's going to be an adjustment period, and some controls will be necessary, because I don't think I could let her just run roughshod around the house. She would have gotten into stuff. So every dog needs to be trained, and but whatever you do, don't let it off leash unless it's in a place you can control it. I could not catch that dog to save my life, and I think he knew it. And I turned him back in because I was afraid that if I left him there, he would kill himself, or jump the wall successfully and then fall the 12 feet down the other side and hurt himself and die. And then instead of rescuing a dog, I would have killed one. That was not what I wanted to do. Hopefully they'll see it that way, and hopefully God sees it that way. Anyway, Godspeed, good luck, take care.